So welcome to Kingdom Metalworks again. This is Red. He's come in and he has his hood scoop, the fiberglass one for the Thunderbolt on the Fairlane, and so he wants to make it out of steel. So the last time we videoed, we made up the steel panel. So we started the shape and started to get it conform. We kind of roughed it in so that we got our triangulation to it, and everything is conforming to where we need the shape and how we need it, and then just needs a little smoothing. The way we obtained all those different lines was we laid out the scoop with tape lines. So all of these tape lines, they come in and able to determine exactly where that bend is, the style and the shape and the configuration, and how it tapers, because as you can see, you got more taper from here. It's fairly broad, and then it comes around into very narrow. So we first laid out the tape, got the configuration of that return, made up the outside perimeter, which is out here, so that we knew the size of metal that we needed just to be able to do this with a little trimming. Then I had Red, he's gonna come in with his paper pattern, so he taped a paper pattern to the section that he's now going to make the front section, and he laid it all out, and he used pencil and detailed in all of the roll marks where we needed them to be, and the edge of the panel, and even our top little radius, we put a line in on the top to know where we are there. So once he'd done that, we then transferred over to the bench to grab a piece of cardboard. So this is kind of a slightly stiffer cardboard than the paper, and he laid out the paper pattern on top of his cardboard pattern to give us an absolute. And then with that, he then cut in his slots on the very base, so he knew how much stretch is that all going to take on the metal to give him some understanding of the reading. So once we got that determined, and it felt like the cardboard pattern template sits down nice in the radius and comes around nicely to give us the correct angle of the angle coming up this way, because the angle this way is really important. And then we're going to get our radius in the base, and then we're going to get it to conform coming around. So the 3 stages. So this is basically where we are. And so Red's going to show you with his panel what we've started doing. As you can see him placing that panel up, he's got his marks from the paper pattern, transferred them onto his steel, and we've been using the rubberized wheel to conform it to get the reverse curve in there. So as he runs around, you can see that he's manipulating the panel just through and giving it that triangulation and throwing it over the lower anvil, which is, we're wanting a 1.5 at one end, and we want a 3 fanned out to 3 on the end closest to him. So therefore we're using a 1.5 radius just to conform it all with very light pressure, numerous runs backwards and forwards to give us that kick. So as you can see, when we go over to the panel now, we'll go over to the hood, and you can see how this is laying down and how awkward this panel is sitting with some rock and everything to it. So what we need to do now is stretch on that lower flange. So he's first going to stretch on the edges to conform that to stretch on the edge. Then he's going to give it a second one in deeper, and then maybe a third one, making sure he doesn't go into that radius that he's just set in a nice position. And so as he lays his panel down, lifts it up on the end, you can see that he's got enough angle to it, so the front in the curvature area in the middle of the hood fits nicely to all of his lines with his strike lines, and then it also comes around and fits nicely on the other end. So he knows he has enough angle in his panel, so all he needs to do now is stretch his edge out. So we're going to go over to the stretcher shrinker, and we're going to start stretching and shrinking. Basically, we're going to stretch this flange around, only stretch, and he's going to do numerous passes to be able to achieve the right radius. So as he keeps his pressure consistent, he's going to make sure that the panel is maintaining the correct angle and the edge is stretching, and he's keeping everything under control, so that when he comes in to do his mid stretch, that waffled edge that he's making right now will start tightening up, and it will give it more curve right on the rolled bend, and it will come around and come around until he makes it fit. So there you have it, the first stages of the front section to the scoop for the Thunderbolt Fairlane. And this is Red from Illinois. He came in just to make up this steel hood. We're making it out of 18 gauge cold rolled steel. That's what he wanted to make it out of. So it's nice material to hold its shape and keep rigidity. So far, looking good.